Right, so now it's Friday morning. So I've been parked there all night. It was 6 o'clock by the time I started, so it's 20 past 6 now. Probably just over a couple of hours away from Haverhill. We've got probably just, I'd say it's about 100 miles. Cheers, fella. So as long as I'm there before 9 o'clock, I'll be quite happy with that. Then that gives us the rest of the day to get it off, nip round the corner. I had a look last night. The place we're collecting from's only, I think it's less than a mile away from the place I'm delivering to, which makes a change. So that's quite good. We can get there relatively early Friday morning, get tipped, go around the corner, get loaded, and be on our way back home on a Friday, you know, straight away without hanging around waiting for a job. So that'll do me. So I'm coming out this estate anyway. I'm doing a big loop. So I've come in at one end, going out the other end, and if there's somewhere to park just at the top here that I mentioned yesterday, I'm just going to nip to Sainsbury's. I'm just doing this because just as a point of reference for anybody if you ever need to do your shopping, because you can drive through the estate. If you see where that car's parked on the left, sorry, that truck. So I'm just gonna pull in on the left behind this chap here, and then the main road going across the top there. If you just walk to your left, there's a Sainsbury's on your right. I think it used to be a pub. So I'm just gonna go and do that. Right, so I'm not going to go to Sainsbury's because it's closed. Don't open till 7 and it's 6:30. Just there on right. Whoopsie daisy. Right, so this is stop 1, so we'll get unloaded here. Hopefully it shouldn't be too long because there's nothing here. And then we'll go and pick those IBCs up. Right, so that's the delivery, the first delivery done in Haverhill. I'm just going to show you. Just going to show you how far I've got to travel to pick up the load that's going back up to Yorkshire. So even though this isn't the greatest paying load, I'm in Haverhill, it's already booked, I can go around, collect it, go home, it's Friday, rather than hanging around here all day. Alright, so what is it now? 9:44, so let's see how long it takes us. We are 3 minutes, 4 minutes, less than a mile. So that's 4 IBCs on. I was there an hour, but I managed to have a brew and a butty, so I've had my break now, so hopefully Dewsbury's just short of 4 hours, but with it being Friday and bank holiday we might run into a bit of traffic, so I've got 4.5 hours to get there anyway, so I'm hoping to get there before 3:30. It's now 11:30. And before you say anything else, don't even go there, or before you comment about IBCs and straps, because that's another thing that's down to interpretation, isn't it? For those of you that don't know, those things I've just loaded are called IBCs, right? You know, they're let's say a plastic container with a metal frame on. Obviously, the plastic container's got liquid in. Now, for as long as I can remember, drivers have been strapping them down, throwing a strap over, strapping them down, cracking on with no issues whatsoever. So either the old bill or the DVSA, because to be honest with you, I don't know, are now telling drivers they must secure IB. Well, this is the point. Some drivers are being told you must use 2 straps on an IBC, because if you throw a strap over the middle, the powers that be are saying the integrity of the metal frame is compromised. But you've got to remember that these metal frames and IBCs are tested to within an inch of their lives, aren't they? Because all chemicals, and if we refer to chemicals and things that are a certain nature, they must be carried. Even certain things in certain cardboard boxes, and those boxes, those things that other things are carried in, must meet certain regulations. So these things are tested, you know, they can probably cope with twice as much as they're actually, you know, as they're designed for, because there's always that over engineering in there to compensate just in case. So as far as I'm concerned, there's no issue whatsoever with chucking a strap over the middle of an IBC, right? And certain companies, it might be policy that you throw 2 straps over. So don't get muddled up with your company policy, and let's say, I don't know whether anything is the law, because a lot of people get confused between the law, regulations, company policy and guidelines. They're all different things, aren't they? So lots of different, you know, it's not the law that you've got to wear a hard hat on where, you know, wherever you may be, but it might be that company's policy that you wear a hard hat. So if you don't get one, if you don't wear one, you're not breaking the law. So with strapping IBCs, it's kind of similar. As long as you load, as far as I'm aware, if there is a law, even securing your load, is it against the law not to secure your load? Or is it just the law states that you can't have an unsecure load? It all, you know, it all starts getting a bit weird. And who determines what's secure and what's not secure? It's all down to, in some cases, people's opinion, isn't it? It's what they call subjective. What one person believes is right or wrong, another person may not. Kind of like a referee in football. He might think a bad foul deserves a red card, and another referee or the linesman thinks it deserves a yellow card, and the fans are mixed on it. So it's subjective a lot of the time. So the things with the IBCs is, I've just thrown one strap over, as you saw. But I've put the edge protectors on, which are the length of the IBC. So the integrity of the middle of the metal frame, the aluminium frame, isn't compromised, is it? So because the middle of the metal frame isn't compromised, do I still need to put two straps on? Some of you will say yes, some of you will say no, some of you will say, well, at my company they do, and some will say no, they won't. But that's where the problem lies. There's no definitive black and white. You must always do this or this. And what I'm getting at is, if you ever get pulled into a checkpoint or anything like that, am I right in what I'm saying the way I've done it? If the copper or the DVSA bloke says I've not got one strap on, because the law doesn't say you must use one strap. It just says the load's got to be secured. You can't, you know what I mean? If I put edge protectors on, let's say one of the pallets, and I didn't on the other, surely you can't get prosecuted for only using one strap on that IBC but not that one, because that then means you don't have to put two straps on all IBCs. And you may think I'm waffling even though it's right what I'm saying, you may think I'm waffling nonsense, but the problem arises when you do get pulled. Because I remember I was reading about a driver who'd been prosecuted, I don't know whether it was the police or the DVSA, for an unsecure load because he only had one strap over his IBCs. Now the integrity of the strap's alright because they rate, let's say it was rated at 5 tonne. So it's nothing to do with the way the IBC's been secured, so it's still secure in it. But he got done for not having a secure load. So there was lots of debate about it. You know, some people said this, differing opinions, which is fair enough. Some people saying, well, at my place we always use two. Well, we don't. Well, a lot of that'll be company policy, so that's kind of by the by with regards to what I'm saying and getting prosecuted. So not long after, I was parked up on the services, and I was there all night, and I didn't have a job in the morning, so when I got up I was like online and faffing about, and DVSA rolled in, and they had the weighing, the portable scales for weighing vehicles and all that, but also the old bill rolled in with them. So it was a joint DVSA police operation, and all they were doing, they were pulling like transit vans in, and the 3.5 tonne curtainsiders and all that kind of thing. So I'm watching them doing what they're doing, and it was quite a big setup. So they had the little command post in the back of the van, the DVSA. So I thought I'd go in and ask them, because I'd seen, I'm sure the post online, the guy, it was a copper that had done it. Probably a copper that's obviously never done the job and's been on a course. So therefore he's been on a course last Tuesday and he knows more than we all know, right? And maybe if that driver, you know what he should have done to get off getting done? He should have started waving a Palestinian flag around, and then copper would have gone, alright, no problem mate, on you go. Anyway, that's by the by. Right, so he got done for having the one strap on. So I went into the DVSA command post, and it was the senior DVSA, would it be inspector for that county or that region, because his minions were out with the police and, you know, looking at vehicles, and he was inside kind of doing paperwork and, you know, on his laptop. So I went in and I asked him a couple of questions, actually. So I asked him about what I'd read online, and he said, well, as long as your straps are intact, not frayed, not damaged, and the weight rated accordingly, and the IBC is secured down properly, I don't see the issue with that. And this is the chief examiner, chief inspector, whatever it is. So he's saying you can use one strap over an IBC. Kind of like I was saying, that the integrity is not really compromised, because they kind of designed for that. Yeah, it pulls it in a little bit, but it's not damaging anything. So his main priority was the driver. As long as the driver's made, you know, an attempt to strap it down, that's sufficient. I asked him another question as well, but after I'd finished speaking to him, I went outside, spoke to one of the coppers, and he said, "Oh no, you've got to have two on. If I catch you with one strap, I'm going to do you." So you've got the DVSA bloke sat in the command post saying you can use one, and the copper stood outside, and they're on the same operation, saying you can, saying he'd prosecute you for using one, and you have to use two. So if you got pulled into that checkpoint, literally depending on which uniform walks out of the command centre, would depend on whether you get 3 points, a fine, your company gets prosecuted, and everything, you know, blacklisted, red traffic light on the what's you call it. Do you know what I mean? So it kind of frustrated me a bit, that, because no one actually knows, do they? And the thing is, one uniform have their rules and regulations. I'm not saying law, because I don't know in law what's right and wrong, but let's say they have their regs, the DVSA, the police have their regs, they work together using different regs and guidance. So how can that be right? Surely that's not right. And the other one I asked him about was the using hooks, you know, rave hooks along the edge of your trailer when you're strapping a load. So if you've not got securing rings like that pop up just inside your curtain, if you use the oblongy type, well, rave hooks under the edge of the body of your trailer, or your load body, right? Because I'd also read online that, I don't know whether someone had been prosecuted, but there was guidance or something, or I'll not say illegal, because law's different than guidance and all the rest of it, that you can get done if you strap your load down using the rave hooks along the edge of your like say your trailer, your load bed. And what you should be doing is coming through the bottom of your curtain right underneath and hooking it onto your chassis. That's what they're saying you should do. But to me that's worse, because it gets it with weather and all sorts. There's risk of something flying up and breaking it, and then, you know, I mean, it's a small risk, but there's a risk, you know, there's a risk of all that. So again, this isn't a police DVSA thing. I just asked the DVSA bloke on this, because I was thinking that let's say guidance would only be relevant if you had a really old trailer or truck with a steel body. Because years ago, I remember some of them, they used to rust. So you'd hook your thing in, and because it were rusty, you know, it was compromised. Sometimes it'd break off and, well, it wouldn't break off, but, you know, you could tell it was due to break off, right? So, I get it, but now everything's, well, is it aluminium, stainless steel, whatever it is, I don't know. So, it's never compromised. And the fact that they design straps and hooks, brave hooks, to fit there, tells you there shouldn't be an issue doing it. So when I spoke to this DVSA guy, the basis of everything he was telling me was, as long as it's secured securely, we're all right with that. We might advise some drivers on, you know, this, that and the other, but he says the general rule him and his lads work on, because I didn't see any girls there, was as long as it's secure, or even if it's not quite secure, as long as the driver's made a reasonable attempt to secure it, you know, they might make him secure it there and then if you get pulled, but they'll tend not to prosecute. Yeah, I'm reading about this guidance online, and I think it might have even been in a CPC course as well. I'm not sure. So the whole point of this waffle is, when it comes to rules and why do people, when they're turning right, especially on a roundabout, it's not always come all the way. He's done, bloke here behind me, he's literally gone all the way around the roundabout like a U-turn, not used his indicators once. He's probably cursing me for pulling out on him. He's not even gone in that petrol station. Yeah, so it's quite, luckily it's not happened to me, but it's very frustrating. It must be frustrating for drivers who are getting prosecuted for either strapping their IBCs down wrong, but they're only wrong in the view of the person that's dealing with them, but they might not be wrong in the view of that guy's mate, and the other driver's getting done for securing rave hooks to raves along the side of the truck instead of the chassis, when again, if they'd have got pulled the day before by someone else, it wouldn't have mattered. So you don't know where you stand, do you? Surely there must be there's got to be just some proper guidance of, this is it, this is not it. And then none of us could whinge when you get done. Because like I say, mine is strapped with one strap. So IBC, strapped with one strap, right, you're not allowed to do it. Right, so Mr. DVSA man, am I going to get done? Yeah, why? Well, you've compromised the rigidity of the thing on the top of the frame. Well, I've not, because I've used edge protectors that are solid across the whole width, length of the IBC, so I've not compromised it. Yeah, but you've still got one strap on. Yeah, but you're saying that strap compromises the IBC, and it doesn't, because I've done something else. Are you a DVSA guy watching? You tell me. I'm sure all of us who are drivers, and all of us, well, all of you that might be new drivers and a bit paranoid. Oh, another one with no indicators, come on. Look for, if you're coming up to a roundabout and you're turning right, indicate right. Just treat a roundabout like a crossroads. If you're turning left, turn left. If you're turning right, turn right. Indicate right. And if you're going on straight, either don't indicate or just go across and then give your left one a tickle as you approach it. Right, we're just jumping on M11 now. So that's going to be boring all the way up to Dewsbury, so I'll probably speak to you next. See, here's someone using their indicator. Oh look, it's a truck. Here's someone who's not, so I'll go. And he's come all the way around. Yeah, so up to Dewsbury. And if you want, I'll talk to you again. But I'd be really, really interested in comments now, if you're still watching the video, obviously, about anyone's thoughts on this strapping malarkey. I get it that loads have to be secure. I've no issue whatsoever with that. I've always done it. I even have 2 empty pallets on the back. I'll strap them down. I've got my pump truck on the back. It's strapped down. You know, I've no issue whatsoever. But prosecuting drivers for little nuances and points of opinion and subjective opinion where one guy could prosecute you and one couldn't. Based on, I get it if you have done something wrong and one just lets you off and one wouldn't, you've still done something wrong in both circumstances and with both people. This is the fact that we're being told to do something, so you do it, and then you get done for it. So you do it another way, and then the original guy will do you for it. So you can't win. And have I done the right thing, chucking one strap over with an edge protector along? I've done that on purpose, actually, just to... I'll tell you why I've done it on purpose, because along the edge of my truck, I've got them pop-up... hooks that you... that you hook, you know, inside the curtain. I don't go down to the Raven hook on. I've got them inside that pop up. You probably noticed. So I've got the hooky straps, right? And they're spaced equally apart, perfectly for the middle of a standard pallet or an IBC. So if I've got to throw 2 straps over, so on you know, so either side of the middle, say a quarter in that side and a quarter in that side maybe, right? So I've got 2 going over the outer edges. They come down and the only place I can strap them to is the rave. So if I did put 2 straps over, oh yeah, well done driver, you've put 2 straps over your IBC, but we're going to prosecute you because you've actually hooked your straps under the rave on the edge of the truck instead of your chassis. Well, there's nowhere on the chassis to do it. Well, sorry, we've been on a course. Me and my trainee have been on a course, and I'm going to get my trainee to prosecute you because he knows better than you. So you can't win. Go over the middle, they do you because you compromising the integrity of the IBC. You go either side, they're going to do you for hooking under your rave. Right, I'm back now. I'll say I've calmed down a bit, but I don't normally lose my rag anyway, right? So I think on, I don't know, earlier in the video we were talking about weight distribution, weren't I? So another example, when I've put those IBCs on, you probably noticed I asked the forklift driver to put the first one on in the middle at the front, the one behind in the middle, and then another 2. So that's because I want to keep the weight off the front axles. These 4 IBCs weigh 4.5 tonne between them. So just over a tonne a piece. So So again, if I look on me, right, so I've got, currently now on my back axles, I've got 10 tons, right, spread between both axles. One's 11, one's 7, so we're all right back there. Now, empty on my back, I've normally got 6.5 ton. So when I'm empty, the 6.5 ton, just the body of the truck, the tail lift, one thing and another, that's what rests on the back axles. So I know now, because I've got 10 ton back there, do the maths, take the 6.5 ton off, that I've got 3.5 ton on the back. So where's the rest of the weight? Well, it must be on the front. So what have I just said? 4? Did I just say just over? Well, let's say 4.5. Let's say it's not quite, but let's say 4.5 ton. So if you've got 3 ton on the back, the other 1.5 tons on the front, and then the one below my front axle weight. Now, if I'd have put 2 IBCs on the front and then the other 2 behind it, I might not be, but there's a risk of being overloaded on your front axles. So that's why when I'm picking IBCs up or big heavy pallets, you know, maybe a ton a piece, I'll always try and put one on the front on its own. It's a bit different if you're driving an Arctic with a trailer, because even though it will affect your steering axle and your tractor unit, think about it, the weight on the front of a trailer, a lot of it is over your drive axle, in it, because obviously you've got your trailer axles, but then you've got your, let's say if it's a 6x2, you've got your drive axle and let's say your mid lift. Well, a lot of the weight on the front of a trailer is over that. It still will affect your drive axles. You can still end up overweight on your steer axles in an Arctic, loading right up to the headboard on your trailer. But a lot of that weight will be over, because it's on your fifth wheel, will be over your drive axle and your lift axle. So it's not as important with a trailer as it is in a rigid, because you've got to remember, in a rigid you've got your front axle, your steering axle, then you've got a massive gap back to your drive axles. Whereas at the front of an Arctic, obviously you've got your trailer, you've got 3 axles quite close together at the front and then another 3 right at the back. So I'm just saying this in case any of you, again, aren't drivers or anything, you're curious as to why I loaded one in the middle, one behind and then another 2. And even the other 2, even though they're quite a way forward on the truck, if you take a look at my truck, my drive axle is near enough halfway along, not the length of the truck, not the length of the chassis, but the length of the load bed. Kind of like if you imagine a seesaw with the pivot point in the middle of a seesaw. Well, my drive axle is more or less in the middle. So those two pallets that were put on last are more or less, because I mean, is there 4? 1, 2, 3. So that's the equivalent of 3 pallet spaces back in it, right? So that's the equivalent of 3 pallet spaces back. I can carry 16. So I you know, let's say 8. So yeah, so that's right. So it's just, so the rearmost 2 of those IBCs then are literally just in front of me drive axle. So most of that weight's on the back. Some of it's on the front. So, but that's just a word of warning, and it can be a pain in the backside sometimes if you're driving a rigid, whether it be even a van 7.5 ton or whatever it is. It can be a pain, especially if you're doing multi-drop and stuff like that, where you're shifting stuff about, or you know, you're doing multi-drop and not necessarily you're not shifting the stuff about. But imagine you're doing, let's say you're doing multi-drop IBC deliveries. So you know you're all right. Excuse me. You're okay weight wise, but then you start delivering and doing your collections. Well, what about your last collection? You take two IBCs off, and then collect two IBCs, and the two you chuck on are heavier than the ones you took off. You're going to be overloaded on your front, aren't you, without even realising it? Or you know, same on the back in the middle. So always be aware of your weights. And if you pick up a load with multiple pallets or multiple IBCs, and they all weigh the same, it's a lot easier to work the weight out, isn't it? Because obviously if you've got a pallet that weighs 800 kilos, one that weighs 1200 kilos, one that's 500 kilos, another one that's 1000 kilos, and they're all over the shore, you might find yourself driving down the road like that, down one side, because the weight's all down one side or all on one front corner. So you know, just be aware of it. So anyway, just got past Huntingdon and all that nonsense all queuing. Up to Dewsbury. Put the postcode in the sat, even though I know my way to Dewsbury. Put postcode in just to see whereabouts in Dewsbury I'm going. And the actual street name was familiar, and I started racking my brain, and I think last year or the year before I went on the same industrial estate. I think you come into Dewsbury, I think you end up near the bus station, kind of do a left and a left. That's the road I think I need. I won't know till I get there, but this is what I'm thinking. That's the road, and I think there's a bridge, railway bridge, and then it's all industrial. And if I remember, the road is absolutely terrible, kind of pothole-ridden road, or it had really stupid speed humps and speed bumps, and you know them really massive speed humps where you have literally you're down to less than walking pace, and it's up and down, and you're wallowing around. You know, probably causing more damage to the road. And it's industrial. It's not as though it's a residential area. It's just industrial. So I'm sure they can come up with better ideas than that. Anyway, right. I'll see you when we get there. Right, so I'm just approaching Dewsbury on the M1. I was going to go all the way up to the top of the A1 and across the 62 and just drop down, but there's terrible roadworks at the top of the A1 and it's Bank Holiday Friday. So I'm 1.5 miles from the junction for Dewsbury, and now I get this. I've driven all the way up from Haverhill without stopping. I get within, how far is it? 6 miles and the drop. And here we go. Anybody know where this, look on this sign here, bus station, it says short stay and truck parking and coaches. I ain't got a clue where that is in Dewsbury. Anyone know? Look, we're pointing down here, wherever it is. Jesus Christ. Right, so this is that road I was thinking about. It must be speed bumps. Alright, I'll slow down, you're alright. Right, all done eventually. Got in there about 20 to 4. It's just gone 4 o'clock. I've been in, got tipped, come out, parked at the side of the road outside. Anybody interested? Mill Street, is it Mill Street East? Let me check. Mill Street East, where the lorry and coach parking pointed. I don't know whether there's anything further along Mill Street East, but there was nowhere. There wasn't like a set yard for lorry or coach parking. But if you look down the street on my right now, there's these massive lay-bys, and sometimes a council will, you know, this will be the dedicated lorry or coach parking, won't it? So anybody in Dewsbury, Mill Street East, you know, it's 4 o'clock now and they're all nearly empty, so you might be all right for overnight parking. Right, so on my way here, I got a phone call. It's Bank Holiday Monday. Got a phone call seeing if it was available on Tuesday. So I've just had a job booked from Blackpool to Sheffield on Tuesday. This was someone that got my number off the haulage exchange and gave me a call. So the haulage exchange isn't just there for people to post loads. In a way, it's also a directory of transport companies and providers. There's nothing stopping me. Right, I'm in Dewsbury now, so I could go on now, search transport companies or courier companies or whoever they are based around here and quite easily get their details, give them a call saying, right, I have an empty vehicle in your area if you require one. It's not all about posting a load, quote on it, post a load, quote on it. It's a directory of companies that you can deal with without them even posting the load online. You can contact them directly and they might say, oh yeah, well actually we've got this load this afternoon, you know, what will you do it for? You give them a price, they'll then book it through the exchange, they'll send you a confirmation, so it's all done legit, and like I said before, you can do your invoicing on there as well, and then you submit the signed delivery notes and anything on there, taking a picture. It's all pretty straightforward. So I'm just gonna, it took me 4 hours and I think 4 hours and 15 minutes from Haverhill to here in Dewsbury. Came here non-stop, bit slow every now and again, but it was basically a clear route up until I came off at the junction there on the M1 and was probably stuck in that for only 6 or 7 minutes, so I didn't do too bad. I wanted to get here without having a break, because when I looked online this place closed at 4 and it's now 4, and when I got here and asked the bloke, he said they close at 10. So I could have easily stopped en route, had a break and got here and still got tip, but at least I've got it done. So all I need to do now is send the guy a photograph of the delivery note who I'm doing the job for, because it's nothing to do with the exchange. So right, I'm going to do the paperwork. We might go through something else before I close this video about what we've done this week. Alright. I'm not going to tell you, but I'm just going to work out. Plus. And bear in mind, some days this week I earned a lot less than I normally earn in a day, and then other days I earned a lot more than I normally do in a day, because I did 2 or 3 bigger jobs. And it's all about your averages over the week. Oh, that's not so bad. Right, so far this year, that's this week's the most I've earned this year, and this is one of them funny weeks because it's running up to a bank holiday. And like I said, probably in part 1, recently, the weeks leading up to bank holiday over 4 days, I've been earning more than I normally do in a week. Now this is like Easter. It was a 4-day week and I earned more in the 4 days than I would normally in 5 days. This week's a 5-day week, but it's a bank holiday on Monday, and for some reason it's busy. I've got a job booked for Tuesday and I've had 2 or 3 calls today. So just work that out. Hopefully if you've, I'll not say enjoyed, but it's been an education for some of you if you've made it this far. So thanks for sticking with it. If you want to watch more videos like this, there won't be a lot of them because I'll be honest, it takes up too much time filming, editing, all the rest of it when I've got a lot more to do. But if I ever get like an oddball one-off job, I'll definitely do that. But just let me know one way or the other. So take care, cheerio, and keep it real. See that bad boy there? That kettle? I bet that kettle's done 1,000,000 miles with me. 1998 I've had that kettle from. Look, still laid off steam. Best kettle in the world. The 1,000,000 mile kettle.